Okay, we are connected. So there we go. And okay, wonderful. This guy realized the Earth is flat. You mean you realize the Earth is flat? Trying to set everything up just takes a while for me. Like, I use a streaming software called Prism, and it lets me connect to YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. My Twitch had signed out, so I had to re-sign into it. And then to get it all set up on everything takes a little while. But now... let me show you something. No. How do I flip it? No. But you see? Now we're all set up on everything. This here is Alpha. Hanging out with Alpha today. Well, he's been nice to me. You don't see the animals. Where are the animals, please? It's right here. I chose to hang out with Alpha today because he's so the last guy that I got Alpha from had never handled him because he would be very striky. And he's been really hi. He's been really good with me. But he is high strung, but the funny thing is that like he doesn't try to get away, like he kind of holds on and then he just chills with you. So once he calms down, he's really nice. Sometimes I'll have an animal with me that like they're a little too hyper and they try running away, so I figured today I'll hang out with Alpha because I'm not feeling the greatest, so I'm just going to be drinking tea and chilling with Alpha. Do you have any reptiles, Frenchie? Frenchie mama? How do you come up with that username? What if it chokes you? Like, come on, look at how small it is. It doesn't have enough strength to choke me. And they're really not like that. Okay, doctor, you should know better, especially if you're a doctor. Like, imagine someone trying to choke you with their fingers. Like he's not that much thicker than my fingers, so if he was to try and choke me, it would just feel like a nice neck massage. Only 4 legs. Only 4-legged ones. French bulldogs. Okay, that makes sense now. French bulldogs. Now I want to see what French bulldogs look like. I'm allergic to cats and dogs, so it's kind of how I got into reptiles. Okay, they're cute. Are they stay kind of smaller? They're, because as soon as I hear bulldog, I always think of those like big, chubby, drooling ones. Hey Jason, thanks. Not feeling the greatest. I'm having a tea day. I have 2 big cups of tea to hang out with. We had like 40 people on TikTok for a bit, but I was getting set up and they all got bored and ran away. Oh yeah, some dogs are so like beautiful, but then like they drool so much, it's kind of disgusting. Thank you, Frenchie. Frenchie. Jason Laurel. Where's Frenchie from? And Jason, do I know you, or are you like this health, wellness, something doctor dude? I was allergic to cats too when I was younger. I spent so much time around them that my immune system is awesome. It just gets worse and worse for me. I don't know. I think it's interesting that some people get stronger over time. For me, I've had allergies before that I haven't even had developed. Like, I used to breed mealworms for my geckos, and at first I was okay, but it just started getting worse and worse and worse to the point where I'm just like, if I keep doing this, it's gonna kill me. I got 3 kings, and I take pictures when I can. I'm getting a cup of tea. Very nice, Ricky. You'll be joining me. I have 2 large cups of tea to get me through this. Hi, TikTok people. So if you go in my bio, you can find my YouTube channel. It's full of fun videos about reptiles, some educational, some really silly. And they all run away. And Reddit people, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You're important too. And yes, Jason, tell me. Because I'm just like, who is Jason? I don't recognize you. So I looked you up, and you look like a health and wellness dude or something. It's Snake. It should be in the title of the stream on Facebook. It's Snake Cake Exotics. It used to be Beauty Boas, but I deal with more than boas, so I wanted to have some catchy name. And I think I have a sense of humor, so I thought Snake Cake Exotics. I don't know what else rhymes with snake that well. And cake is a strong search term, so it worked. Oh, Rob de Klerk's son-in-law. Very nice. That's strange though, because when I search, because we were just talking. Oh, Javen. I thought it said Jason. Javen. I can't even say it probably that properly. But yeah, you guys can come and hang out sometime. Did you talk to the wife and see when you guys are free? Wait for me to get better though, just in case I have something you don't want to get. What is in the box? Which box? I don't see a box. What's in the box? Oh, you guys haven't gone out at all until you're waiting till all the restrictions are lifted? Like, does it say on the title of the Facebook stream though? Doesn't it say there Snake Cake Exotics? So I put it in the title. So you got 3 kids? Boys, girls, ages. Sure, that'd be fine. Usually Sundays are good, so maybe next Sunday if I'm feeling better. Okay, 2 girls and a boy. When you tried the 3rd time, were you aiming for a boy? My wife said that if she was sure that we would have a boy, we would have another one. But I know if we try, I know I'll just have another girl. That's just what'll happen. So. Plus, I don't really want another child. If Avery, like when Avery grows up and leaves or something, that's when I would want another child. I think having multiple children, they get going and like if they don't get along or they're arguing or something. In some ways they could be easier, but in other ways it's probably harder. Plus, I feel like after having a kid, it made me, like, I feel like an old person now. Yeah, see, me and my brother were good. Ariel and her sister, like, hate each other, so I don't want anything like that. They should be, like, they should be friends. It should just be automatic. This is your little brother or sister. Yeah, but you have to go through the whole poop phase again. Like 2 years of cleaning poop all over again. I never did, but I do get it. Like at first you're kind of like scared of everything, and then later it's like if they don't poo for a couple days or something, you're like, "Oh no, are you okay?" And then they poo, and you're like, "Yay, you did it!" Oh man, it's really funny because I don't have the greatest sense of smell, but I could smell her poop like the moment that she made it. Like I could just smell it instantly. I developed like spidey senses for my daughter's poop, and my wife, she didn't even like notice. And for me, it's like she pooped herself. Got to clean it. We're talking about baby poop. Any chance you play chess? What about Rob? Does Rob play? Oh man. Yeah, the funny thing though is like he's very striky. He's very striky. But if you're really calm and slow with him, he chills out and it's special. Yeah, thanks Frank. How you doing, Frank? At least I have a deeper voice now. I feel like I should like be going out and getting refunds or something. Go to the store, be like, "Oh, I tried this product and it didn't work. Give me back my money now." Javen, did you find the YouTube? And green tree pythons are awesome. I really do believe they're my new favorite snake. My connection is slow and a bit blurred. Is that a green tree? Yes, it's a green tree. What do you keep, Frank? Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna send it to you. There you go. Is it J? Okay, tell me if it's the first or second. Is it a Javen or Javin? Javen or Javin? Or is it Spanish with a silent J? Havin. Hawan. Havin. You're a 20. You have a 26-year-old mutt boa constrictor. Do you know what a mix? Do you know which mix it is? It's funny when you say that because I automatically think of Hog Island boas. Javan, yay! Okay, it's the first one then. Javan. Okay, Javan. Switch over to the YouTube. And then after you'll have endless hours of entertainment. Yeah. The grandson of Noah. For Frank, whenever people mix Hog Island into things, that's usually what I think of as like a mutt. Yay! He made it. It used to be pretty good. Like, we'd have our streams and we would have like 10, 20 people going. But then I stopped doing it for a while and now I'm trying to get back on it. Reddit ends up having like 20 people lots of the time and they just watch but don't say anything because that's what Redditors seem to do. They just kind of creep you. And then TikTok is just crazy. It's just like there's a ton of people and then there's no people. And I don't know if they like to watch or interact either. The last thing I got was, what if your snake chokes you? If you people on TikTok want to ask anything, feel free to ask. Same thing for everyone. It's almost like show and tell or something. Hi everyone, my name's Matthew and I have snakes. What would you like to learn? I am getting more into ball pythons. Soon, het pied male and female. Just make sure that you see that the parents are visuals, or at least one of the parents, because so many people sell animals and just label them with hit, and then sometimes they aren't. Okay, it was nice. See you. Have fun feeding your children. Something really cool about green tree pythons is they have like these dark tails, and what they'll do is they'll wiggle their tail around, and then birds will think that it's a worm, and then when the bird tries to get the worm, the snake will eat it. Pretty cool story, huh? We rescued him 10 years ago. He is darker than most, with black saddles, tiny spots of brick red on his side. Go it. Sorry for my spelling down to his belly. Oh, no problem. I'm getting more ball pythons soon hit by no female. So the one that you rescued is het pied, and you're gonna get a female for him? Oh, snakes don't have complex emotions. So snakes don't really love you or hate you, but they definitely like and dislike. So just think of it like that. Like, they do have feelings in a certain way. There's things that they like, there's things that they don't like. So, for instance, even this snake. So this snake used to be really kind of just. He'd never been handled before I got him. So he's lived now for, like, let's say 2-3 years, and his previous owner never handled him because he was scared of him and he was striky. And right from day one that I got him, I started handling him. And I handle him like he's not afraid. And he's still high strung, like he's still tense, and it's still easy to kind of scare him. But he's become a lot more comfortable with me. So it just shows that, like, their behaviors can change. Like, you go from having a snake that doesn't really trust you to a snake that kind of trusts you to a snake that trusts you. And can they recognize you, like separate you from not Not really. So there's there are people that say that. Like there are people that say like, okay, I can handle this snake and no one else can. But here's the thing. Like I'm pretty sure that if another person tried to handle the snake, he would probably bite them. And that's just because they wouldn't know how to handle him properly. So if because I handle him a certain way, it makes him feel more confident because I handle him confidently. But if I took him and he was handled by someone that was a little too rough or a little too scared, he would probably end up nipping them. So it's not but it's not about him recognizing me. It's about me handling him properly. So when you take someone that's experienced with snakes and let them handle snakes, often they can handle snakes that other people wouldn't be able to. But if you were able to come and handle him like nice and gently, not be afraid or anything, and handle him in a way that kind of gives him confidence, then you would be fine too. But in general, it's like if snakes are okay with being handled by me, they'll be okay with being handled by anyone. But if and then there's snakes that just don't want to be handled. Yeah, if you see on the thing, you can see my oh, you can see my YouTube. It's Snake Cake Exotics, and I have like over 700 videos on reptiles, so you can check them out. Some are educational and some are silly. I think like people, they can express themselves in different ways. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think of cats a lot. If you think about a cat, do you really think your cat loves you? Because I think that dogs love people, but I don't really think that cats love people. I think that cats are like cute pets and stuff, but they're kind of like they come because they want something, and I guess some can be affectionate, but for the most part, I don't really think of cats as affectionate creatures. I think that people look at their cats and they love their cats, but I don't really think the cats love them that much. And I feel that snakes are very much that way. Like a snake becomes comfortable with you, but it is more than just tolerating you, because there's, yeah, exactly. And the same thing with snakes. So some people will say that snakes just tolerate you, that it's nothing more than a snake tolerating you, and I disagree with that. I think that snakes enjoy interaction, and some snakes really don't. But you can change that. Another thing that I find very interesting is when, so I have three of these snakes. So I have three green tree pythons, two females, and then this male. If I handle the two females, they just don't care. They're not scared at all, and they're not reactive. They'll just let me handle them and do whatever with them, and they're fine. With this guy, I have to be a little bit more careful. But with them, when I open up their homes, they don't really notice me, or they don't really care. They don't react. They don't do anything. And it's just because, like, to me, like, I'm nothing to them. I'm nothing to them, kind of. With this guy, when I open up the home, he's there. He's ready. He knows that I'm there. He's a lot more aware. So I find when you have an animal that is scared, or an animal that is, let's say, aggressive or scared, they're a lot more reactive. So they're paying more attention. So when you're able to take an animal like that and calm it down, even though you calm it down and kind of tame it a bit more, it'll still have more, it's almost like it has more thoughts in its head than the other ones that are just like they just don't care. So when you take an animal that is scared or not really handleable and make them handleable, you actually end up with an animal that's kind of more like those type of animals will actually end up being more aware of you. Like there was one time that he crawled out of his home onto me, and my two tame female green tree pythons would never ever do that, but then this crazy guy, he did. So I always find it interesting, and it's the same thing. Like if you rescue an animal, if you take an animal that's been in terrible conditions and then you treat it well, that animal will usually like bond with you in a way that an animal that you just treated well all the time never would, because they know animals know if they're being mistreated, even if they can't speak or anything like snakes. They know the difference between a good situation and a bad situation. So if they come from a bad situation and then you put them into a good situation, they respect you for that. No, not at all. Because think about the life that a wolf has to have compared to a pet puppy. Who would you rather be? Would you rather be the wolf that has to go hunt and kill things, be stuck in like crazy ranges of temperature, and be surrounded by like predators and stuff? Or would you rather be the puppy that everybody loves and feeds all the time and plays with, and you get to stay in a nice warm house and everything is provided for you? So sometimes you get the whole, leave them in nature and that's where they're going to have their best life. But the truth is that when it comes to snakes, they go from the bottom of the food chain to the top of the food chain. So when they're born, they just die. They're like little worms, and everything else in the forest eats them. So they have, let's say, 20 babies, and all of those babies would be eaten. So they wouldn't even make it. And then when they do, same thing. They got to go through difficulties, and there's also all sorts of stuff like parasites and bugs and stuff like that. So when you look at a snake that, now I don't think that snakes should be taken out of the wild, because it's not fair to take an animal that has this whole environment to it that it's used to, that it knows and that it goes and explore, and then put it into a box. Like, that to me is cruel. But if you take an animal that's been kind of raised in captivity, they lose a lot of their instinctive ways. Like they're not scared, they're not high sprung, they're not trying to run away, and they don't move very fast either. They move very slowly because they're relaxed. They don't need to be able to take off and run away because there's nothing chasing after them. So in a way, snakes that have been bred in captivity and raised nicely, they're domesticated in a way. And if you were to take them and stick them into wild after, they would probably end up dying. Something gives you a bit of a bad feeling when animals are kept in small boxes and such, taking away their instincts and environments. And yes, so over the past 10 years of keeping animals, I do feel more for them than I did before. Before, I didn't realize as much kind of how smart they are, and now I like to give them more. And there's but then consider this, right? Snakes are not as intelligent as humans are. Okay, you can't even compare it. Okay, so humans are super intelligent compared to any animal, basically. But do you not see the craze with people living in tiny homes and simplifying stuff? Or, then there's people living in just plain bad conditions, let's say like in China or Japan, where they're living in houses that basically have somewhere for them to poop and somewhere for them to sleep, and that's it. So, and then you look at people that have huge houses. Do they need that huge house? Like, they don't. They don't use it. So to me, there's kind of a balance there. Like, and I think that if you have exactly. So, but at the same time, they're capable of much more. So, like a snake isn't going to be in a small home thinking I'm in a small home. You know, the biggest problem with a snake being in a small home is if it poops, it wants to get away from that poop, and it should be able to do that. That to me is one of the big problems. And the other thing is that people that buy snakes lots of the time, they're so easy to take care of and stuff. So instead of taking the snakes that they buy and giving them a big nice home, often they'll buy a ton of them and put them in smaller homes. And to me, like as a breeder, I do have to keep them in smaller homes than I'd even like to. But anyone that I sell a snake to, I encourage them to not buy a ton of snakes, and I encourage them to buy a bigger home or to make them bigger homes and really enjoy their animals and try and view their snake more like a cat or dog as opposed to an animal that they collect. And I'm working towards downsizing and upgrading some of my animals' homes. But then the other thing with giving a snake a larger home is when you put them in a bigger home, it makes it harder for you to get the right temperatures. Inside a bin, it's a lot easier to control the humidity, the temperature, and kind of care for all their needs. The moment you put them in a bigger home, it can become a lot harder to keep the right humidity. And if you're not able to give them, like, here's the thing, if you have an animal in a smaller home where you have all their needs met, and you have them in a bigger home where you don't meet their needs properly, the bigger home will actually end up being worse for the animal. So that's another thing. Like if I can this year, I want to be giving these guys, I have 3 of these and I want to make them like a nice display home. And make it like semi-bioactive. Because learning how to do bioactive is really not as easy as it seems either. I've been experimenting now, and for the first year I wasn't doing very well, and then next year, now I've been able to make kind of bioactive environments with different isopods and stuff. And when you try to do bioactive environments, if it's too moist, you end up with all sorts of mold and things can die. If it's too dry, everything dies also. So like learning how to keep an environment kind of just right for all the everything inside that environment to survive, for the plants to survive, for the bugs to survive, and all of that stuff, it ends up being more challenging than you'd think. My cat will eat my face the moment. Very nice. I always thought it would be cool to make a green tree enclosure out of a broken Coca-Cola cooler with a glass door. Yeah, that'd be cool. Those things are heavy though. I had one for a while, but then when I moved I had to leave it. It was actually like a tall, slim freezer from like an Asian place. Oh. Anyways, thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna get going now.
Excuse me, Dad.
Well, yeah?
This weekend I'm going to your dad's house.
I don't know. Just yeah, check out the latest videos if you haven't on YouTube. The last few were pretty fun. Thanks, Frank.